Hello, welcome to episode 7 of the Yapology Podcast. Hope you guys are feeling good on this wonderful day, whatever day you're listening to this on. Now, I must admit, guys, okay, it was a journey getting here today. First of all, today's Monday. Today is Monday at I think it's like 3:30 the last time I checked. Monday at 3:30, okay? I try to film on Friday so I can have the whole weekend and stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff, but I was not finding the inspiration whatsoever to film this week. And then it's Monday and I'm like, okay, am I gonna really say, oh, there's no episode today, or am I gonna get my ass up and make a freaking episode? So what I did was I put on a pot of my coffee. Shout out my old job. They gave me like a fucking lifetime supply of coffee, okay? And it gave me the boost I needed to just get the fuck up. Sometimes you gotta admit that you're just fucking being lazy. Sometimes you have to admit that you are being lazy and there's nothing wrong with you. Just get your ass up and do what you need to do. Now, the truth is, in addition to me being lazy, I just was also like not feeling very inspired to make an episode today. But caffeine does wonders and I'm super duper inspired. So let's get into today's topic. But first, let's run the intro. There's no intro. Hello, hola, bonjour. Welcome to episode 7. I'm just super happy you're here. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening or watching. I really appreciate you giving me a piece of your time. Okay, so today's episode, as you could tell by the title, is about love bombing. I actually came up with this concept or this title a long time ago. One thing you should know about me is I really love titling my stuff. I got this title down when I wanted to write about it, pre-podcast idea or anything like that. So, and it kind of stems from my long-running beef with Twitter. Fucking hate that app. Okay, shut that shit down. Shut it out. Okay, so the title says love bombing is an art perfected by Twitter. And I think that is so perfectly said because if you take a look at love bombing, it's all kind of the same formula. Everybody's kind of using the same thing to get the same thing. It's all the same script, the same gifts, the same this, the same that, right? So that's why I think that it's perfected by Twitter. And as per usual, it comes back to the phone. You used to put the phone down. Okay, so let's start with love bombing, what it is and why it works. So according to WebMD, can you believe this? It's so serious that it's on WebMD, guys. Let's get it together. Let's get it together, okay? According to WebMD, love bombing is an emotional manipulation technique that involves giving someone excessive compliments, attention, or affection to eventually control them. That's what love bombing is, okay? I'm pretty sure most of you, if not all of you that are listening to this, have experienced love bombing one time or another. It's very easy to do, especially in the beginning of relationships, and it's very easy to fall for because at the start of a relationship or at the start of any possible connection with a person romantically, it's all the possibilities are endless. So you're super excited, so you're going to take whatever you get. It's better or it's easier to be hopeful and positive and lovey and all that stuff because it's the start. You don't know this person, they don't know you. All that you have is kind of your imagination saying, okay, this could be amazing, so let's make it amazing from the beginning. Obviously it works because I think that we have all been conditioned. This is just how it is. I'm not trying to fight against it or nothing. It is what it is. But we are all conditioned to put love and romantic relationships first above everything. You're supposed to end up with a wife or a husband or kids and, like a family, all that stuff. That's what's ingrained in us. We watch the romance movies, we read the books, we see every single thing has to have a touch of romance in it. Okay, this isn't new. This isn't new. So naturally, we're going to crave that. And obviously, if it's coming with everything that we thought that it would be, that is the flowers and the affection and the overwhelming attention and love and all of that stuff, love bombing. If it comes with all of that, we're going to be super susceptible to it and we're going to fall for it. This, again, is simple math. I don't feel like I need to explain why love bombing works. You know why it works. And then there's also like cases where people were either starved for affection when they're younger, or this is the kind of affection they're used to from parents or loved ones or friends, whatever. They give them an overwhelming amount of attention and then they take it away. And this is just how we accept love in today's day. Like, it's just how you accept love on the basis of however you grew up with it. We're all scarred from our childhood, no matter how it went, right? So you're not terrible or you're not failing as a person, or you're not strong because you fell for love bombing. We all fall for it. And I guess this episode today, I'm hoping to kind of bring some light to certain things so maybe you won't fall for it the next time, but you probably will, because if you see a nice guy and you like him and he's cute and he's saying all the right things, and he's charming your pants off, and he's giving you everything that you want in the beginning, or everything that you think you want in the beginning of the relationship, you're going to fall for it because you want it to work. Nobody goes into a partnership hoping that it fails. We're not going into it being super critical. It's just not natural, right? That's the first thing. So don't fault yourself for falling for love bombing or this person tricking you. It is what it is, happens to the best of us, okay? But just listen to Colleen for a little bit, and I don't know, maybe you'll beat it next time. Beat it, beat it, beat it. I still haven't watched the Michael movie. I still haven't watched the Michael movie, guys. Don't drag me. Don't jump me, okay? Where I live, the movie theater shut the fuck down. Okay? It literally shut down. You know how far I have to go to watch a movie? It's just, yeah. So I haven't watched it yet. It's giving I won't even get to experience it in theaters, to be honest, because I don't think I'm hitting up that side anytime soon. But I hear good things, sort of. I think most of the good reviews are from nostalgia and from the lead's performance. Anyways, this isn't a movie review, okay? Let's get into it. The next thing I want to talk about is regarding love bombing and its relation to Twitter. Now, love bombing, although we gave it the name, shout out Gen Z, before it had a name, love bombing did exist. This isn't new. This is why our grandparents have 10 million kids. It's because the men were love bombing them, and telling them to keep the kid is a part of love bombing. Okay, it's just, it is what it is. But know that we have cell phones and we have social media and we know what everyone's thinking and talking and what everybody's doing. Now it's like we're feeding love bombing easier than before. Like, I feel like before people had to come up with ways to emotionally manipulate you to get you to fall for them faster. But no, you click on Twitter and there's a picture of a girl getting her dream date from a guy, and everyone in the comments is saying, I wish that were me, I wish that were me. And the guys there are taking notes and saying, okay, 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 okay. Yep, yep, yep. So it's just easier now to love bomb because of the access to social media and getting ideas from other people and seeing what works and what doesn't work. No, a very common thing that I've seen and that a lot of people have wanted, and I don't judge you if you do, you, sis, is the decorated hotel room thing. Okay, cool. Well, cool, do you, whatever. Personally, I wouldn't like that as a person, and this is very important for the rest of what we're going to talk about with regarding love bombing, why it works, how to get over it, all that stuff. Me personally, I don't like the whole decorated hotel room thing. I don't think I would like it because I'm such like I'm so hyper aware of a lot of things, especially when it comes to physical sensation. So don't put petals on the bed that I'm sleeping with, because now I'm gonna feel it all over my body, and I don't like that. So unless we're gonna get into the decorated hotel room and look at it, oh, this is so nice, this is so thoughtful, amazing, and then clean it up and then get to business or whatever we're doing, I wouldn't like it. And then who wants to stop and clean up before we enjoy what we're enjoying? You know what I mean? So it would just be a mess for me. And that's for me personally. However, somebody who's coming off of kind of the social media wave of what to do to get a girl to like you, or how to show a girl appreciation, will probably think that that's a good idea. Like, yeah, let me do this for her. She'll like it. A bunch of other girls like it, right? A bunch of other dudes did this for their girl and it was good. But then you come to me, you don't really get to know me yet, but you want to do this, and then you do it, and I'm going to be super annoyed because I hate the sound and smell of balloons. Hate it so much. I can't stand the smell and sound of balloons. And I already talked about the mess and the petals and all that stuff in the bed. But it would take time for you to get to know me, right? To know this. So literally, love bombing is just a lack of patience and a lack of knowledge. Okay. Now, I learned this through experience. I don't want you guys to think that I'm better than anyone and I never fell for love bombing in the past and da 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 da. So, the last guy that I was dating, he was not a love bomber at all. Obviously, in the beginning, we had our honeymoon stage and it was sweet and whatever, but he was never like a love bomber. And then I would say about 6 or 7 months into our dating, think it was like 6 or 7 months, he said something that he wanted to do for me that was specifically catered to me and my favorite show. And then another time, he also said something really thoughtful about the fact that I loved writing. And in my head, I was like, oh, okay, this is someone actually love bombing me. But it's not a bomb, right? It's slow and it's steady, and it takes time to get to know me and get to know the things that I like and get to know the type of person I am in order to properly show affection and love for me. And that is what I think love bombing gives the illusion of. Love bombing gives the illusion of, oh, I know you so well. I know you so well. I care about you. I know the things you like. I'm doing this because it's thoughtful. But in reality, it's not thoughtful, is it? It's really not thoughtful because you don't know me enough to be thoughtful about the things that I would like. You cannot love bomb me within a month or two. Let's say a month, because probably in 2 months you could get to know a couple things about the person to be thoughtful enough about them. And for me, thoughtfulness probably stands above everything else in a relationship, because if you've ever gotten a gift from me, it always comes from a place of, yes, this is a gift, but it's also something that I know that you need, right? Like it's useful. You know what I mean? So that's also how I like people to be with me as well. This is just my example. I urge you to know yourself as well, so you could differentiate between someone who is love bombing you and someone who is genuinely showing you love and affection because they know you and they want to love you, you know? But it wasn't until I had that experience with somebody, because I remember thinking this guy is so not romantic. I remember thinking this guy, he's so like, he doesn't do anything grandiose and all that stuff. And I'm scrolling through Instagram and I'm seeing these guys doing these great things for their girls. Always comes back to the phone, right? And then it wasn't until, like, obviously through time of getting to know me and stuff, he actually figured out the type of things I'd like and the type of things I don't like and the gifts I'd like and the gifts I don't like and all that stuff. And in the beginning, when someone's love bombing you, they don't know this stuff, right? So that's kind of the logic I want you to apply to this. When someone's love bombing you, think like if this is the kind of thing that I actually like, or is it just nice? There's nothing wrong with it being nice, but it's important not to fall for the idea of thoughtfulness over actual thoughtfulness. Do you get what I'm saying? I think everyone's kind of in this rush of let's get to the end goal really quick, let's fall in love really quick. And I like those tweets just as much as the others. Like I laugh at them and all that stuff. Let's fall in love in 3 days and da 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 da. Da. Like it's funny. But I think everyone is trying to get to, yeah, let's be in love already. Let's get the relationship already. Let's get the flowers and the grand gestures and the moving in together and the we're in love and borderline marriage already. Let's just get to that quickly. But I think a huge thing in humans, I don't want to say in this generation, the huge thing about humans is we are so impatient. We are so impatient. It's always the end goal that matters the most. And I get that that's super important. Yeah, we love to get to the end goal, but it's also kind of nice to just get to know somebody, you know? And I think that's why we count a lot of relationships as failures, when in reality, they weren't failures. They just didn't end how you wanted them to end. But did you not have nice times with this person? Did you not share laughs with this person? Did you not love this person at a time? Did you not share good moments, feel pleasure? Try new things, learn things about yourself with this person. If these things happen, how can you count that relationship as a failure just because it didn't end in marriage, or just because it didn't end the way how you wanted it to end? That's the thing. We kind of learn to discredit the process if the end isn't what we want it to be. And I think that like sucks a lot. I think that really sucks because you take away a lot of your life, or you develop a lot of disdain for for a lot of your life, because if you spend a couple years with this person, or you spend a year with this person once, whatever, and it ends up bad, like it ends badly, it kind of erases all of the good times about it. And I don't really think that's fair, because then you're also erasing your time, like joy that you've felt. And I know it's pretty hard to think back on good times when you're in bad times, and it's like, okay, whatever, do your healing process, I get that, but at the end, let's not act like you didn't experience something. Let's not lose years of our lives because we're trying to forget good moments because it didn't end the way how you wanted it to end. I think that's not fair, and I think that kind of sucks as well. You know, people, I say this all the time, people are pretty complicated, people are very complex. You know, things may not go the way how you want them to go all the time, but it doesn't erase that thing that happened, you know? So that's kind of my think piece on the whole us being impatient and us wanting the best end possible, and just kind of hating everything else if we don't get the end we want. I think that I think that kind of sucks a little bit, and I want to urge you not to do that. I want to urge you to try to understand that this life is truly just an experience. It will all end, whether it ends when you're conscious or it ends when you're unconscious. It doesn't matter. It is going to end. Nothing lasts forever. So, just as naturally as death is going to come, you have to look at the end of something as natural as well. But it doesn't make the experience any less important, you know? I don't know what happens after death, but when you die, does it make your life, a waste just because you're dead now? Think about it that way, you know? You can hate your ex, sure, but let's not deem this relationship as a failure just because it ended. Okay? So that's kind of my spiel about patience and about appreciating the process as well. And that ties into love bombing because we all fall for it because we think that we're getting our end goal right away, which is what we want, instant gratification, right? We want to be in love, we want the relationships, we want the flowers, we want the cute pictures, we want all of that as soon as possible, but there's no substance behind it. You're following a script, right? You're following what you think is the ideal relationship. You're following what you think your end goal is because of what you've seen or what you've been told or whatever. It's natural, whatever. I also think that getting to know somebody and even getting to know that someone isn't for you is still a good life experience as well. And I don't think you need to quickly erase that or quickly jump past that just to get what you want. You will get what you want. I truly believe it. Like, I hope you believe it too. You will get what you want, but sometimes it may take a little bit longer, like it may, or you may have to go through like different people to get to the one person that you want. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't trick yourself into falling in love with someone that you just met because you just want to fall in love. Okay? That's why love bombing works. All right? A lot of us talk about wanting the right one or wanting to meet your husband or all of that stuff, but then you meet a guy and you think the guy's attractive and all that stuff, and you immediately want that person to be your husband, but you don't know them. Plus, I think there's a lot more that comes into relationships and making them last and making them worthwhile and, making them whatever you want them to be than love, right? Love is an emotion, it changes, it fluctuates, it goes from here to there and everywhere, and it comes back and it goes away. There's so much more about being in a relationship, being in a sustainable, worthwhile relationship than love. And you have to notice these things in order to not fall for love bombing because it's like, okay, let's say I dated a guy one time that told me he loved me 3 days in, right? And I knew he wasn't serious, but I liked hearing it anyway. I knew he wasn't serious, but I liked hearing it anyway. So what the hell, right? But okay, you love me. Let's say it is true. And let's say in 3 days you fall in love with me. Okay. Can you cook? Because I don't want to be cooking every day. Can you cook? Do you like to watch TV shows? Do you like to watch? Are they loyal? Are they genuine good people? Are they a like, do you know these things about them enough? Like, they love you, that's great, but will it last? Who can tell? Because you don't know them. So you don't know if you guys are gonna get along well. You don't know if you guys are compatible with each other. You don't know if you'll be compatible with each other's lives, like the type of family they have, the type of friends they have. All those kind of things matter when it comes to being in a relationship. And love isn't just it. And I think when you realize that, it makes it a lot harder for you to fall for love bombing when you know these things, because then you realize like, okay, loving me is actually the easy part. That's really easy. At the end of every episode, I tell you guys I love you. Like, it's so easy to love, right? So once you realize that, then you'll realize that love bombing really isn't all that. It's like, okay, cool. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Now what? Now where do we go from here? Is this it? And then I think that helps you to become a little bit immune to it, because then you're able to say, okay, great. Like, even if you fall for it, okay, great. It's love. Now what? Now, what about everything else that you want in a relationship? Some girls do prefer, certain things that cannot be changed, or certain things about people, like their personalities that you need or that you'd prefer, right? And you love me, okay, but do you have these things? You know what I mean? Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah, so I urge you to not fall for love bombing the next time you experience it, the next time a guy tells you you're pretty, or the next time you get into a relationship or a date, or you're dating somebody and they tell you, they come right out the bat swinging and giving you the most and all that stuff. I also think it's ingenuine, and this will also help you to fight against it as well, or to not fall for it as well, is that love bombing is ingenuine. It's not real because, like I said, the purpose that love bombing has is to mimic thoughtfulness. But it's not thoughtful because they don't know you enough to be thoughtful about you and the things you like and how to show you appreciation. They don't know. So it's really ingenuine. It's literally them just doing what they think you'd like instead of taking the time to do what you'd actually like. So once you realize that this is actually ingenuine, then it should help you to not fall for it so much. If someone tells you they love you really fast, but you don't feel anything between you guys, I know in love bombing, like people start to talk about the future a lot, and that's a really funny part about love bombing actually. People talk a lot about the future, about what you guys could be, what you guys will be. You'll have 3 kids and you'll be married, and the type of house you'll both live in, and where you live, and how your life will be, and they'll come home from work and what they'll do for you, and what like it's really exciting talking about the future. And you also develop like this bond with this person because you're imagining this thing with them, this circumstance with them. But if you think about it, you're both imagining different things. Because what if he's thinking, oh, he comes home from work at 9 p.m. because he's running a business, and you're thinking he's coming home from work at 5 p.m. because he works reasonable hours to spend time with you afterwards. But you don't want a man that works late because you want to spend time with your man. That's what I mean. You guys don't really know if the future that you are imagining is insane. He's thinking about what his dream life would be, you're thinking about what your dream life would be, and you don't know if it's the same because you don't know anything about each other. You don't, okay? But I did write a piece a couple weeks ago on my blog about hope and despair. As humans, we love hope, right? Like it's the best thing ever to know that there's better out there, to have something to look forward to. Like it really drives us and makes us happier and more fulfilled in a sense, because we know that there is something there that we're working for. But just like I said before, there is something also beautiful in the process of getting to whatever you're working for as well, right? And I think love bombing steals that process because you're jumping ahead to the end goal. And there's something really, really beautiful about the process of getting to know someone and falling in love with someone. I don't know if you guys have ever been in love before, but it's really, really beautiful, and it makes you hard to regret it even if it didn't go the way you wanted it to go. And love bombing is not that. Love bombing will not give you that experience whatsoever because it just isn't that. Yeah, I really, really urge you to take your time in the next stage that you're in. And if you come across someone who you feel is love bombing you, maybe tell them to brace back a little bit, chill out a little bit. But I know it's going to be pretty hard because we're all a little fucked up, and I think love bombing makes the search for a relationship feel like it's finally worth it, like you're finally there, so you kind of want to jump to the end because you've been waiting for this thing all your life. But the process is really nice too. The process to get to actual love is really, really nice as well, and I urge you to give it a shot. Because even if it doesn't get to the end of what you want it to be, to fall truly in love, you will learn to appreciate the process even when it's over. This is my first episode talking about dating and I've been really wary of how I would approach this topic because it's so vast. It's so vast. It takes up so much of our experience in life, is the pursuit and the maintenance of romantic relationships. It has been the center of our lives from we were very, very young, and it's just been something that we've always taught to pursue. And therefore, as adults now, which is the center of this podcast, just navigating life as adults, I think it takes up a lot of our mind and our time. So I do want to talk about it a lot. I have a lot to say about that aspect, and I guess this is how we get into it, is the love bombing part. So and I guess it makes sense to start with love bombing because that's how a lot of relationships start. So Yeah, this is her first episode on dating, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I think that's technically what I wanted to say about this is just don't fall for it. Try not to fall for it. Try to logic your way out of things. That is what I do a lot of the times when I feel like there are things that feel out of my control, especially emotional things. I try to logic it down. So I wrote on my blog, I think it was like a last week. No, it wasn't last week. It was the week before that about the phenomenon of attracting what you fear. And I analyzed Ariana Grande and the Wizard Liz. You should totally go read that. And in the end, I spoke about the way how I tackle a lot of emotional problems is to treat them like a math equation. And math equations start out big and then they go down to, x equal whatever. So I think that for a lot of things that you feel like you don't understand or they're out of your control, but they're not benefiting you, I think that you should reduce them to its simplest form because when it's simple, you kind of realize it's actually quite easy to get over. Once you logic things, then you kind of realize, okay, it makes sense. I urge you to logic love bombing. And when you do that, you'll realize like you can fight against it and you realize how ingenuine it is. And perhaps that'll help you not fall for it. And perhaps that'll help you fight against it and actually seek true emotional connection and take your time to get to know someone and take your time to actually get to fall in love with somebody and take your time for someone to fall in love with you. Okay, because love bombing, sweetie, it never ends well. It never, I know it feels amazing in the moment, but it never ends well because it's not genuine. So fight instant gratification, fight the need to want to be in love immediately, fight that shit. Fight it and take your time. There's no rush and kind of accept that not everything will give you the end goal that you're hoping for. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. People are really interesting when you give them an opportunity to be themselves instead of trying to make them be who you want them to be. They actually become quite interesting when you're just like, okay, this is a different person. Let's get to know this different person. Okay, he likes this. He's a little strange. He's a little different from what I used to date, but he's quite interesting. Go out and meet people. You can only expand your knowledge, and knowledge is power, love is power, patience is power. So just take your time. Okay? All that being said, I hope you heeded what I said. Heeded, headed, take headed up. You guys remember that reference? I used it a couple times ago. It's an office reference as well. I hope you guys listen to what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just a girl talking about her opinions in her bedroom, so you don't necessarily have to take what I say as law and use what I say, but I really appreciate you listening to me and lending me your ear for a little bit, and hopefully it gave you something to think about. And the next time when you find yourself being love bombed, you can come back to this, or you could just remember something that I say and think, okay, let me consider what she said. And if you decide not to do it, don't do it. Okay, love bombing feels good, I can't lie. So I can't judge you for wanting to keep with it either. It's one life. Do you, sis? But thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. I love you. And oh, read my blog and follow me on Instagram. And I really appreciate you guys. And I love you. And have a great week or day or month or year. Whenever you're listening to this, just I hope life is kind to you and I hope life is amazing to you. And I really appreciate you. So bye.